Welcome everybody. How's everybody doing this Sunday? Happy Valentine's Day to y'all out there. Today we are going to talk about what's been going on in the markets in the past few weeks. Welcome everybody to another financial corner from your boy, The Fat Stacks. And with everything going on with the market, there's been a flood of new investors. So if this is your first time in this channel, hit that like button, hit that subscribe. What we talk about here is pretty much long-term growth, dividends, what I'm personally doing. And if you're looking for like short-term trades and trading, stuff like that, this is not the channel for it. I haven't really got into that stuff that much myself, but eventually down the road. But this channel is really focused on trying to get investors, especially new investors, to think about, their long-term future, long-term growth. Once again, I'm not a financial advisor. A lot of the information that I put out, I do put out from the news. I personally use TD Ameritrade, as you see here. So um like I said, everything I say is opinion, but a lot of this stuff when it comes to stocks and stuff like that, you can look it up yourself and you can look up the stock prices and all that. I just try to give you an overview. So first on the agenda, what we're going to talk about today, like I said earlier, is about Wall Street bets, about what happened in GameStop, AMC, and just recently the cannabis stocks. Now there were a lot of analysis and millionaires that were mad with people that were on Wall Street bets and whatnot because of the fact that they flooded the market and drove the short sellers pretty much to lose a lot of money. Now, to be honest with you, uh, this has been going on in the market for a long time. It's just kind of like the underbelly per se, but just not to this volume. There have been times where the market has lost a lot of money due to hedge funds hedging bets and so many um, businesses being shorted, how they make money. Now, when it comes to, not that's not the only way hedge funds make money, but I'm just saying it's just one of the ways. Now, of course, we've had recessions in the past, and a lot of people, I think just a lot of people have a little built up frustration and anger towards the system itself and how it runs, because of how people are making money, how these millionaires and billionaires are making money. But the average person that now has this similar information or the same information, some people are a little mad at that per se. you know to each their own. But I will say these new investors, are here to, some of them want to play the short term game and swing trade and all that, and others are looking for long term investments, stable wealth growth. So that's my opinion on that. Now we're going to talk about also the froth in the market. I think the way how the market is sitting right now, you have a lot of stocks that are kind of valued pretty high. And in my opinion, me, I like to buy on dips. So, with the some of these, like I said, with some of the new investors coming in, fundamentals are not really in value. Some people don't really understand, but some people are just picking stocks that they like, without doing research. Not saying everybody's doing it, but some people are treating the market like a casino per se too. Me personally, I would not suggest doing that. So I suggest, you pick value stocks, pick stocks that you understand, pick stocks that you can grow with so that you can obtain your wealth over a long period of time. Like I said, I personally think the market is getting pretty high. So, I would kind of watch it, watch what stocks you're buying. If you're looking to get into a particular stock, you know, if you can afford it, hey, go ahead and afford. But me personally, I have a buy-in point where I would like to buy in with some of these stocks. So, I think the market is getting pretty high, even though sometimes I feel like the market and what's happening in the real world is somewhat disconnected in certain ways, because with all the stimulus money and everything, a lot of people, in my opinion, you have those people that are using their stimulus money in bills, but they're also using that stimulus money to put in the market as well. So next, we're going to talk about the SPACs and high evaluations. Man, SPACs has been coming in hot and heavy. A lot of companies are merging via SPAC instead of just the traditional, IPO. And there's been a lot of money being tossed around in SPACs. Now, as a new investor, I've seen where, if you're getting into a SPAC, I've heard, opinions from all over, and the general consensus is if you get into a SPAC, it's good to get into it low. If you can get in at $10, and, SPACs are a risk. There's no guarantee there. You just putting your money into a SPAC and hopefully the SPAC merges with a company. You have like CCIV. I know a lot of people that I've been watching are into like CCIV, Virgin Galactic, the SPACs, and those SPACs have ran. If you got into those SPACs low, also with Churchill SPAC as well, if you got into them like at $10 or something like that, you're making money right now. So if you're looking to get into a SPAC, I suggest you do your research before they run up. Like I said, it is a crapshoot with a lot of those SPACs, so you never know when they're going to merge or anything like that. So next, we're going to talk about the long-term growth. What we're going to be focusing on. Like I said, I always kind of focus on the trend for the future. What is the world going to be like within the next 10, 20 years now that the transformation of information of the job place, there are certain stocks that are going to be long-term. And I've talked about a number of these segments before on my channel. So we're going to reiterate some more of those. As you can see right now, we're going to look at the performance in the S&P. And one thing, you guys, like me personally, the biggest hit sector that took a lot of damage was energy. But I bought into energy when energy was low. I got some stocks myself that were real low, and then I pretty much sold off some of my energy stocks once they pretty much doubled. Some of them doubled, some of them even tripled, because they were so depressed in early 2020s. So as you can see on this chart right now, 3 months, we're looking at the sector growth in 3 months right now. And as you can see the percentage of growth. And as you can see, energy has gone up quite a bit. Now I'm going to talk a little bit more about energy per se, because you have a lot of even oil companies looking to go into renewables and green energy. With the shift in the administration, they're looking to pretty much put more green energy on the map, meaning invest in more companies that are doing green energy. So a lot of people thinking oil is just gonna go. Oil is not going away. Let me tell y'all that it took a long time for coal coal to be switched to oil. Now from oil to be switched to green energy, I think oil and renewable energy are going to have to work hand in hand. So you're going to see a lot of oil companies invest into green energy, renewable energy, to help their companies grow, because obviously oil is not going to last forever. And when it comes to green and renewable energy, it's still going to have to work hand in hand, in my opinion. So we are going to go to the notebook, and we're going to talk about some of these cannabis stocks, the long-term growth. So cannabis stocks. Now I know that this past week they say Wall Street bets have been running up some of the cannabis stocks. Yes, that could be true, but I will say this again. I've talked about this in my earlier videos. Cannabis stocks aren't going anywhere. And the more states that legalize it, the more money the more rise in stocks is going to be happening for cannabis. And a lot of states are going to be using that revenue to help their balance sheets for the state. So, regardless of what others might think, when it comes to when they analyze cannabis, it's not going to matter, because cannabis is $1 billion business, and I say this all the time. It is going to keep growing, And could you imagine every state in the United States legalizing cannabis, regardless of what the federal government says? I mean, it's the stocks are gonna go up. I mean, if you got in when the stocks were low, some of those stocks have doubled. As I've put out on my Instagram and Twitter, I talk about cannabis stocks all the time. Why? Because cannabis is being used not just for recreational, but for medical as well. And there is still, companies doing research on marijuana, on health, on depression, anxiety, and other forms of substitute for pain meds. So, as you can see, I have Tilray on here. A lot of people think that Tilray was hit by Wall Street bets. I mean, yeah, it did shoot up some, but I think Tilray itself, because they merged with Afria, and also Anheuser-Busch has something going on with making cannabis drinks as well. We already know Constellation Brands has a stake and they in cannabis, and they also are looking to bring out cannabis drinks as well. You have Canopy Growth here, and also Innovative Industrial Properties, IIPR REIT. I'm just suggesting a few stocks here that I see long term that are still going to grow regardless. So now the next play is 5G. 5G is going to happen everywhere. I mean, it's just eventually the technology, the infrastructure, when it comes to the phones, 5G is the next super cycle. So everywhere eventually is going to have 5G, and 5G is going to be the play for the future. So when you guys look at it long term, look at stocks that you can have, 5G playing long term. A lot of these stocks, and I'm also mentioning, for new investors and whatnot, I'm not mentioning these particular stocks. These are just ones that I see that, in my opinion, are pretty good. So, like I said, do your research, check the balance sheets, and it's up to you how you want to invest. So, like I said, you have Qualcomm, Inseego, T-Mobile, or just a few, for long-term 5G plays. Technology, and of course, these are the big names in technology as well. Technology has also transformed the way that we have lived in the past year, the way we work, and it's not going to stop. A lot of the technology has been accelerated as well. And when I talk about technology, also too, there's been a shortage of chips, computer chips in the market. There's a lot of things that computer chips are being used for, and right now there is a shortage. Hopefully that gets settled, but from what I've researched, China has a lot of the chips that they have on hand per se, and they're kind of hoarding all the chips, so to speak. And I'm surprised that the United States haven't developed a way of, having a infrastructure where they're making chips here. You know what I mean? Where they don't have to depend heavily on other countries for chips. But, a lot of things are used between phones, TVs, vehicles. I mean, everything we use chips for, and there's a chip shortage. So when it comes to vehicles, I've already seen where they're talking about certain vehicles not having certain additional features because of the chip shortage. And of course, you have the heavy hitters here: Apple, Microsoft, Cisco Systems, just to name a few big heavy hitters in the future. I mean, everybody knows about Apple, their devices, their services, Microsoft, Cisco Systems. You know what I mean? It's just technology. This world is going to be technology driven, and it's going to shape the way we live and how we work. So next thing we're going to talk about, like we said in the little segment before, energy. Energy. You cannot develop things without energy. And with the shift in people depending with the shift with oil, and a lot of people wanting green energy, or companies, I should say, companies looking into green energy, a way to kind of combat the whole climate change. These are the few companies, energy wise, stock wise: Chevron, NextEra, ExxonMobil. Yes, they are dividend plays. Some of the stocks that I've mentioned are dividend plays, and some of those stocks I do have in my portfolio as well. And if I don't have them in my portfolio, they are on my watch list or they're on my buy list. So like I said, even the oil giants are investing, like I said earlier, into renewable energy. Now, Next Era has been a company that they have their whole their company is developed around renewable energy, and they do hire a lot of people. And with the shift, a lot of the I think Duke Energy is another one as well that's not on this list. But as new investors coming in, look at your long-term growth and look at the shift in what's going on. Once the vaccines and everything are pretty much, once a lot of people have been vaccinated, and whatever the norm is, because the norm is not going to be the same as it used to be. So there's going to be a lot of recovery stocks. People will be traveling more. So when you think about getting into a stock, think about the shift in think about the shift when it comes to companies and businesses, and for long-term growth, because me personally, that's what I'm looking at. So I appreciate everybody coming through. I appreciate you guys chilling out, checking out this video. Like I said, I'm just here to talk about, the long-term growth, what I am looking at long-term, um, what I'm looking at to buy down the road. Like I said, because me, I'm looking at generational wealth, trying to grow my wealth over time. So, and a lot of these plays long term will definitely help you into either if you're looking into dividends or just growth. So, like I said, if you guys haven't invested yet, I suggest take your time. It doesn't take much to invest. Even if you're doing $5 a day or whatever you can do, get invested to grow your wealth. I cannot stress the importance. I mean, me, if I would have done this when I was 20 years old, man, the amount of money I would have made now would have been insane. But hindsight's 2020. So I appreciate everybody coming through. Much love to y'all. Everybody be safe. Once again, happy Valentine's Day. If you getting all this cold weather coming through, make sure you stay warm. Make sure you get everything before it hits. So appreciate y'all being here. Till next time.